Great rising, my loves. I'm Sabrina Ihyana, and today we're going to be talking about the books that really helped me on my spiritual journey. I swear all these books came into my life just at the right, perfect timing because they really resonated with me and stayed with me. I mean, if I could read them for the rest of my life, I totally would. The first book I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with, maybe. It is the Bible. I love this book. If you don't read it as like the Bible, just read it as, a healing book, and it has a bunch of prophecies and stories in it that, it's been around forever, written before we were even here, and it's still very relevant today. I mark it up, I highlight everything. One book that I really love in here is Psalm, the book of Psalm, just the way that it's written, and I really find myself being able to relate to what's in, and I love it. I take it with me whenever I travel. Which leads me to the next book that kind of goes in hand. It's called In God's Presence by Bridget Marie. So it's dated with the date every day, and it has like a really nice positive little writing in there. I used to, like 2 years ago, every day I would take a picture of the date and post it on my Insta story, and I would get so much feedback. Like, everyone loved it. They're like, oh my gosh, Sabrina, thank you for doing these, like it really cheers up my day. And I find that it really like resonates with what I'm going through that day, so thank you. But I stopped doing that because Instagram isn't just part of my like daily, I'm not consistent with it anymore, so I just don't have time. But I still do read this every day, and it's nice because I write like little notes in here. It has a little section for notes. And it's really nice to go back like 2 years later and see where I was 2 years ago, what I was dwelling on and praying about then, and how much I've grown now. So it's really nice. Same thing, I love marking it up, like my favorite ones, and highlighting them. So I really love this one. It has some puppy damage to it, but I take this one with me everywhere because it's really small. I can just fit it in my bag. Which leads me to my next book, which is probably one of my favorite ones and means so much to me. This book my dad actually gave to me, and years ago, maybe when I was like 9 or 10, he wanted me to read it, but I never got around to it until I was maybe in high school. And I'm so glad I read it when I did, because I was old enough to really understand it and cherish the words deeply. This book is called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I think that's how you say it. Gosh, I can read this every day, and sometimes I do. I'll just pick up and open up a random page, and it'll be exactly what I needed to see and read that day. This book just really talks about being present in the moment and how nothing else matters than just like right now. You don't need to worry about the past, and you don't need to get anxiety about the future because it hasn't happened yet, and you can't even change the past. So you just need to be present in the moment, and your life will be so much better. This was a key to my spiritual journey because it just got me learning more about like why things happen the way they do, and perfect timing and stuff like that. If I could suggest any book, this would definitely be one of them. The next one that I like love and I could read every day is called You Are Here. When I was in high school, that's when I started practicing Buddhism, and this book really got me to where, like, starting to where I am now. Oh no, all like my notes fell out. I used to take notes of every single page. I'd be like, page 51, feel your energy field. Like, it explains everything deeply, and it's a quick read. Like, I read this on the plane once, just the whole thing. That's the first time I read it because I couldn't put it down. This is one of the books that you just can't put it down. It really makes you feel alive. Like, that's probably how I would explain this book. It changed my life. When I read this book, it's very similar to The Power of Now. When I read that book and I finished it, I came back as a different person. I was a totally different person, and my friends and family were like, they noticed something was different. They're like, what's different about you? You're not weird anymore. I'm just like, man, Power of Now. I was telling everyone, you need to read You Are Here. You need to read this book. Have you heard of this man? Have you heard of him? He's a Buddhist monk in Vietnam, and he's very well known and I was like, have you heard of him? I would tell everybody, even people I would randomly run into, like they weren't even my friends, they were just in a coffee shop. I'm like, hey, have you, like, I'm that person. I'm so weird. Like, if you ever want to borrow any of these books, just send me an email, or if you follow me on Instagram, send me a DM, and I would be more than happy to send you the book to read it, just in case you can't find it online or whatever. Next book is called You Are a Badass. This book is so nicely written out, and I love the way it's written out. It just, how do I explain this? It has so much power in it. It really shows you about like the law of attraction, but it explains it in modern terms, so it's not using all the words that some people may use. It's talking about, it does talk about God and the universe and why we're here, but it really helps you get your shit together. Like, hey, you're here to have fun and to be a boss. Like, you're not here to work a 9 to 5. If you want to buy that Maserati, go ahead, because you can. Like, that's what it's kind of like. But it goes into detail and stuff. It gives you some tools. It talks about meditation. It talks about, you know, energy and vibration. So definitely recommend this book. It's another pretty quick read. Once I picked it up, I could not put it down. And all of my books, once I read them, I always read them again. I never read a book once, unless I hated it, or if it was like a book for school. But I always read it again, and it's nice to go back, like I said, and when I'm in another place in my life and see where I was when I first read it and how much I've grown. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, the next one is The Alchemist. I know all of you know this book. This book, you really have to sit down and read it. The best advice I can give you is to read it with an open mind and a clear mind. Like, don't read another book with this one. This should be the one you read, maybe on like vacation or something, so your mind can be open. But it's definitely a life changer. I have highlighted some of my favorite little quotes in here. I love this book. I'll keep this book forever. This is the first time I got this book was in high school, and I was honestly, I think I was a little young to read it because I understood it, but I just kind of blew it off because I was young. I hadn't gone through life yet in high school. So now that I'm older, this is great. Next book is one of my favorites. I'm pretty sure I've said that for every single book. Okay, well, these are my favorite books. Like, I literally have a library in my house and in my bedroom. So these are just my favorite books that I keep, like, on my bed, literally. Like, I could never have a boy over because my room is full of books, unless he likes to read. The next one is Abraham Hicks. You guys probably have heard me talk about Abraham Hicks a lot on my Instagram, but I'm gonna start talking more about their teachings on my YouTube. So I'm very excited about that. Abraham Hicks is just a blessing for me to find. I found Abraham on YouTube. Basically, how do I explain this? Abraham Hicks, how do I explain this without sounding like a weirdo? We'll explain Abraham Hicks later in another video. But I found them on YouTube, and they have, I just typed in like Abraham Hicks, and all this stuff came up. They do like retreat type of things, and they travel around the world and meet with hundreds, thousands of people, and have like a little speaking ceremony thing, and people record them when they go on like the cruises and stuff at the retreats and post them on YouTube, so you can hear the session that they had. And it usually, I mean, it's always amazing. Like, sometimes it just brings tears to my eyes when I read it. But I'll get more into that stuff later. This book came into my life at the perfect time. It's called Ask and It's Given. It's about manifesting. That's basically what it's about. Like, if you want something, you can literally have it. It's talking about how you make your own reality and you create it with your vibration. So it really talks about vibrations and how your emotions are so important. And I'm so grateful for this book because I used to think that I was just like an emotional wreck, but I realized that I'm not. I'm actually an empath. So when I run into people in my daily life that are angry, mad, sad, whatever, and they tell me their stories, or a lot of people feel the need to tell me what's going on in their life, even if I don't necessarily ask them. Like, they just, oh, Sabrina, can I tell you, blah, blah, blah. Well, even with me listening, I really take that energy to heart. Like, I carry it so heavily throughout the day. And my mom's an empath, my grandma's an empath, so they really understand what I'm saying. And they can see it written all over my face. Like, I'll come home from a long day, and my mom was like, what's wrong? You know, let that stuff go. And I'm just like, oh, Stephanie was telling me about her freaking divorce, you know? And I'm just like, it weighs heavy on me. Even if I don't even care of what they're telling me, just my soul absorbs it. Well, this book let me know that your emotions are so important and to not just play them off lightly, that they're so important and you need to release, you know, you need time alone. And those are all things that I knew, but reading this really helped me understand that, you know, I'm right. This is true. I need time alone. I need time to recharge. I literally need to meditate sometimes after a long day because it's good for my health, mental health, my physical health, like all the health. Okay, the next one is another Abraham Hicks book. This one is called The Vortex. This one is also about law of attraction. I'm in the middle of reading this one again because it was so damn interesting to me. I love this one. It's basically talking about how everything you want already exists in another realm. So this realm that we're in is like reality, which isn't really reality, but physical. Okay, this is physical reality. But there's another dimension or another realm, spiritual. And that's where everything you want literally is living. If you want whatever, I can't think of anything right now. It's literally right there. And you have to raise your vibration to it to receive it. And this book pretty much talks about like questions. So I don't know if you can see, but it'll ask a question and then give a long answer. So it'll talk about some really juicy things in here. It'll talk about like sexual intercourse. Why did I just say that like that? It'll talk about, you know, people being mean to you for no reason. It'll talk about everything, relationships, divorce. But it basically says like on your perspective, you know. So if you think something is wrong, and it's gonna feel wrong, and therefore you may get like a bad result. But if you go into something thinking like open-minded or with good intentions, it won't be wrong. And you could get positive results from it. But if you go in feeling like, oh my God, I'm doing something bad right now, something really bad could happen because you're ready for that lowness, for that badness to happen. But if you go into it high and happy and positive and powerful, you're gonna get high, positive, powerful right back at you. Okay, last but not least is a super quick read. This book is called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. This book is like 5 pages. It's so cheap. I got it on Amazon and I read it in a day. It meant so much to me. Talks about, gosh, what can I even, let me just read something to you. This is on page 9. In reality, it is man's true destiny or destination flashed to him from the infinite intelligence which is within himself. Maybe you should just like get it on Amazon and read it for yourselves to see why I love this book so much. It basically gives you like life is a game. Like, we're here to have fun. We're here to create. Like, bad things are gonna happen, but those bad things are distractions that make us become greater and want better and realize, okay, I don't like that. I want something better. It basically explains there's two forces, positive and negative. But really, there's only positive. Yeah, of course, negative exists. You know, there's negative entities running through our universe all the time trying to F us up. But really, love conquers all. So, love is everything. Positive can rule over anything. And if you truly believe that, you can do and have and be anything. That's pretty much all the books. These books really mean a lot to me. That's pretty much the end to this video. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.